Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Passionista Nation Expert Interview Series. I apologize for the delay in getting this powerful training to you, but here we are. We're making it happen. I have an amazing guest to introduce you to in just a moment. Lee Hicks coming to us from Australia. Super excited about his topic he's going to be talking about today. But just to give you a little bit of idea, if you are new to the expert interview series, this is something that we do every other week to bring you more value, to really help you with developing your mindset and providing you with tips and strategies to help you grow personally and professionally. We have such amazing experts here within the group, and I love to be able to showcase them and provide a platform for them to share their expertise and, again, provide tremendous value to our members. So I know you're probably wondering, well, okay, I thought Passionista Nation was for women, and here we have a dude. It's not common that I bring a guy into our circle, but they have to be pretty special and, very passionate and really purpose driven. So you will discover shortly that Lee fits that bill. And so, I'm so excited for you to be here with us today. And let's jump in. So today we're going to be talking about why finding your ideal client is imperative in your marketing. So Lee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on, Megan. I'm really excited to speak with you and to really add some value here for your incredible women in this group.
And so just so y'all know, like it's 1 a.m. right there in Australia. So so thank you for staying up late for us to be able to do this training today. So I'm going to read Lee's bio so you know a little bit about his background and why he's here talking about this topic today. So Lee Hicks is a human development and lifestyle educator, visionary, and international speaker. Against many odds, Lee has accomplished extraordinary milestones and achievements in his life. He has visited 49 countries and was a pearl diver, delivered a sailboat from Australia to Florida, became one of the youngest qualified super yacht captains in the industry, and sailed around the world for 10 years. How cool is that? That whole adventure lifestyle is super interesting to me. I love that. He then moved to the land and developed a rainforest retreat in Noosa, Australia, built large teams in 2 marketing companies, and is now the founder and director of the Define Your Vision movement. Wow. So very exciting stuff, Lee. So you and I met, what was it? We were both part of a summit several months ago. And I guess when we were on some sort of, I guess it was a call for all the speakers, we seemed to have connected and ended up meeting on Zoom and getting to know each other. And here we are today. I love, collaborating with other like-minded individuals, a vision for where they're going, but then how they can make a difference and an impact by sharing their gifts with the world. Now, Lee, before we dive in, I have a lot of questions I want to ask of you today, but would you mind sharing a little bit about your story and your journey and what has kind of led you to doing the work that you're doing today?
Yeah, 100%. And just first off, I actually live in my RV, Megan. So I'm hoping that the reception that I'm coming through to you okay. I'm actually at this beautiful location, this beautiful beach here. There's always a trade-off for beauty and for the things that are balanced. I'm very big on duality. The first thing I just wanted to say, Megan, is, I love that you and I have come together because I'm all about vibrational frequency, and you are so I think that you and I are very much on the same frequency, and that's evident in our calls. You're incredibly insightful, intuitive, and yeah, I think we've come together for a reason, and I really enjoy our lengthy phone calls that we've had as well in the background. To answer your
Same.
question, absolutely, same frequency. So, in to answer your question there, Megan, I grew up in Perth, Western Australia, on the west coast of Australia, one of the most isolated cities in the world geographically. And I was the eldest of several children. And my father started to build a business. And my father is a beautiful, beautiful man. He's a very strong man. He's a very good businessman. And as I came into my early 20s and we were starting, I was like the eldest son. So I was developing this business with dad from the ground up. And then I suddenly one day just realized that I just literally, I remember exactly where I was on the road. I picked out this is in 1997, picked out my cell phone, my mobile phone. And I just randomly called my mate, my best mate, and I just said, Jace, we're leaving. And he said, okay, where are we going? I'm like, I don't know, but we're leaving. Because I didn't feel that I was expressing myself, and I could. And I don't know why I did it, to be honest with you, Megan. I just knew that I had to go. So there was a lot of expectation on me, like, Lee, you're the oldest son, your dad's building a business, there's a future here for you. And I had all these adverse, not adverse, but I had a lot of pressure and pressure from myself also to stay and be obliged to live this life. And I bought myself a caravan, and before I knew it, a couple of months later, we went and we just started traveling. We didn't know where we were going. I had an incredible job up in the Northwest as a pearl diver. We were spending like 5 hours a day underwater. And it was technically, yes, it's a dangerous job. And like I had people like, Lee, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? But it was one of the most amazing, incredible jobs that I've ever had in my life. I couldn't even explain to you the domes of fish and all marine creatures that would surround us with the work that we would do. And then from there, I had a bit of money, but I ended up 3 years later traveling up to the north part of Australia. And for some reason, just completely randomly, I had been working on boats and built up some small skipper's tickets. And so from there, I decided that I wanted to go overseas. So I just randomly faxed all the yacht clubs around Australia saying, look, I just want to travel overseas. I've got some tickets. And before I knew it, I was delivering a sailboat across the South Pacific. I didn't have a lot of money. I was backpacking across the islands. And, once again, people are like, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you going to end up? And it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. Nothing will ever touch that. I got to Fort Lauderdale, where we delivered the boat in Florida there. And I ended up getting a job on Ivana Trump's super yacht at the time, which took me across the Mediterranean. And I loved what I did. I loved maritime because on a boat, you have a whole world. You have to create your power, your water. You have to know navigation. You have to have guest services and personal services. And, you got lives that you're responsible for as well. And I was a C grade student in Michigan, but I thrived in this environment because I loved what I did, and I studied and I studied. And one thing that I'm really big on that I love to talk to with people is that through persistency and repetition, you develop competency. When you develop competency, you develop confidence. And this is where we're going to lead today, a bit later on today. Once you have that confidence, you increase your vibrational frequency, the law of positive attraction kicks in, and now you're attracting people instead of chasing people. But that's a conversation a little bit further down that we'll get into. And so from there, I sailed around the world, became one of the youngest super yacht captains in the industry at about 36 years old. Once again, there was a lot of adversity. It's like, you're so young, you can't be doing this. But I was tutoring captains of 20 years in the captain's courses that we were doing. because I thrived in it, and I loved what I was doing. So there's many more stories that I can go on with, but at the end of the day, what it came down to, Megan, is I always I guess what has happened is this has led me to define your vision, which is now I've just had so many people tell me I can't do and shouldn't do what I want to do. But at a young age, I didn't know I was doing it. But in hindsight, looking back, I always I drowned out the voices and opinions of other people. And I always followed my heart. And it was a tough road. Trust me, I've been through some crazy stuff and nearly died a few times and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, I have now developed now that I've looked back and studied what's happened, what I love to teach is one of the core principles that I teach is if you're not living your life in accordance with your top 3 values, then you're living your life in accordance with somebody else's top 3 values. That could be a spouse. It could be your children is a big one for women that we see a lot, where women are like, children are everything to women. But how many women do we see that are getting to the age of 45, 50, and they've just given and they've given and they've given, and their tank is dry. And they're like, they are drained. And they're like, what about me? Where's my time? And so then they, and so many, it's so beautiful when we see women just starting to empower themselves and putting up some boundaries. So, this is what we're about. And it's obviously not about women, but I'm just relating to your group here is Define Your Vision is about working out what are your values? Who are you? And how can you build a vision in accordance with your values? Which probably leads us to further conversations now. But that's basically Define Your Vision was born.
So I love your story, and I think a lot of us can relate to having people around us that are just kind of seem to be concerned about our path, or like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? That's so crazy. And they're really just basing it on their own limitations, right? And so many people just kind of live in this box, and they really settle for a substandard life, right? But then there's you and I, and probably everybody in this group, that they have a burning desire to be or do something more. And it really does take courage to step out there and step outside your comfort zone. But outside of the comfort zone is where the good stuff, happens. And I mean, yes, it could be challenging, and there's adversity and all kinds of stuff, but that's where we can grow and develop and learn, become more confident. But really, at the end of the day, it's where we can live an extraordinary life. So, and you're a perfect example of that. But you're right. I think there's a lot of women that, their light is dim. The fire or passion has really kind of been tucked away because they're having to be and do for everybody else, their family, their spouse, their children, and they're putting everybody else first. And that passion or purpose doesn't go away, it's still there. So now is your time. I really believe there's no time better than today to really just um, take a look at what you are meant to be and do on this planet, and start getting after it, because we only have one life to live, right? You might as well live it to the fullest. So so I love your story. So cool.
If I could just speak into that, Megan, because you actually hit the nail on the head prior when we just had a little chat before this call. And you said to me, Lee, I just want people to understand that they can make a decision. And that lit my heart up, Megan, because to hear you say that's my primary message. And I thought, you know what, at the start of this call, let's put that straight out here, that what you're saying and what you just said there is to help women in your group and other people to understand at any point right now they can make a decision. It doesn't mean they have to completely take action and change everything in their world and turn it upside down tomorrow or today, but they can make a decision in their mind that they can they can assess their life. They can work out what are they putting out, what are they receiving, what are they transmitting. Let's go into energy. And that they have a decision that if things aren't congruent around them, they can make a decision and then start taking micro steps to start implementing that decision and
Yes.
change their life. And it can happen slowly. It doesn't have to be this great big dramatic change.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to really maybe
No,
cement the
I
foundation of
love
this.
that. So I'm the type of person, like if I want to do something, like I go full out, and I'm a risk taker. I'm very unique in that way. Not a lot of people, and so other people are like, oh my gosh, that's just like
Yeah,
freaks me out and is
yeah,
scary. So you gotta understand like how you operate, and it doesn't mean that you can't really go after it full out, but like you go at your own pace, like you said. Little baby steps each and every day can lead you to living your extraordinary life, and it's really like you said, making that decision, okay, and not willing to settle for anything else. And
yeah,
then you start making a plan. Now your plan is probably not going to be exact. You don't know what you don't know, but you just like, okay, this is what I feel the next best step is to move towards my goals, and you take it, and you just keep moving forward. You may have to course correct and pivot along the way, but you just have to take that first step, right?
yeah. Maybe I can just share, Megan, just a very short little story, just to emphasize and
Please, yes.
land. Pardon the pun here, you'll see, but land this story is that I remember when I first left and I went overseas, and that's where I decided I was going to go back into the yachting industry, and I became into the super yacht captain industry. I became a super yacht captain in the industry at a very young age. And I'd been traveling for quite a while, and I came back to Australia, and my cousin, who was my dear cousin, said to me one day, and she's kind of like living this life that was in the Matrix. I like to call it the Matrix because it is. And she was just living this life, and she's like, Lee, how do you do what you do? And I said, you know what, Jodes? I just bought a ticket. I just bought a plane ticket and just decided. I didn't know what was going to be after that. I
Mhm.
just bought the ticket, that first step.
Yeah.
And then once I bought the ticket and I landed, I got there and went, oh, okay, what now? And then something would happen. Then I would meet the right person. And when you have that intention, I love the word intention. And if you it's funny, you can be completely focused and have a vision, which is what I'm about now, but that's loose, and like you said, that pivots and changes, and the less resistance that we have to that, the better. But I
Mhm.
just really want to let people know that they can just buy a ticket. Just buy a ticket. Just go for that first step and
Yep.
trust. Trust is such a beautiful word. Just trust and believe that things will work out when creating your vision. It will unfold. The right people will show up. When you fully trust the
Yep.
right people, the right platforms, the right money, the right resources, everything just starts to, it's almost like a miracle. It's like, wow, where did that person come from? And then when you do that long enough, after a while, that's when you kind of go, you expect it now, and little miracles constantly happen, and hardships, trust me, and the hardships, equal and opposite hardships happen as well. But these little miracles happen, and at first you're like, oh my god, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. But then after a while you kind of go, yeah, I expect that to happen now. That's of course that happened. That's
Yeah. It's
I
all
wanted
part of
that
the
to happen.
journey, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, great stuff here. So, I have a question for you that I think is really important to kind of start off with, because, we all know that a lot of entrepreneurs fail. So, and Based
Yeah.
on your expertise, why do you believe most entrepreneurs fail?
Yeah, it's a great question, Megan. I believe when we're talking about entrepreneurs, I'll lean into online entrepreneurs here,
Okay.
and across the board is I think particularly for anyone that's kind of online is that in their marketing is the lifeline of any business, because if you don't have customers walking through that door, you don't have a business. And
Hmm.
one of the biggest, like, there are so many people that have a course or they have something that they want to help. So many people want, I just want to help people, Lee. I want to help everybody. I've got this course and I can help everybody. And it's this blanket approach. Their heart and their intention is beautiful.
Yeah.
But when it comes to marketing, so many people, particularly now in the last year or two, so many people are online and so many people are offering things, and we're exposed to so many ads now. I think I'm looking at, I don't really actually, I work off of Facebook and social media, but I don't actually scroll the feeds. And I was actually on the feeds. I had a look at it last week and I was scrolling through. I'm like, man, it's almost 1 and 2 ads now. Like, this is crazy. Like, so we're just bombarded with people selling stuff. And
Yeah.
so if you're just out there and you can be as passionate as you can be about your product or your service,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, if you're just trying to blanket approach and go, I've got this, come over here and have a look at this, you're just another person online that's trying to sell shit at the end of the
Yeah.
day. Excuse my
Yeah.
French, but that's what we're doing, is that you're trying to sell something and you become part of the white noise. And people have become desensitized to the white noise. So at the end of the day, the way that I believe, and through the marketing and my mentors who are master marketers, is that you have to niche down hard. You have to know exactly who your ideal client is. You have to know what their thoughts, feelings, and emotions are, so that when you're talking online, when you're presenting, when you put out a paid ad, when you're constantly showing up through persistency and consistency, which is imperative that you do so on your social media. It's a great organic way. So we have organic marketing and paid marketing with advertising.
Yep.
Then let's just stick with a bit of organic marketing here. Then you need to show up constantly, but you need to be appealing. What we're trying to do is we're competing for attention. So what we have to try to do is we have to try to stop the scroll, because people are just coming through. Now, the first thing is, when you know who your ideal customer is, then you know where they're hanging out on social media, number one. And when you know where they're hanging out, and let's break this down and go, let's say they're in, okay, let's take this group of entrepreneurial women who want to do more, be more, have more, feel like they've got something bigger inside of them, and they really want to contribute to the world. They really want to contribute to the world. So if I had some type of business and that was my ideal customer, and let's say my ideal customer was American women aged between 45 and 55 who have done a lot of personal development, who have children, who have given their whole lives, and then you can niche even further down into that have been in corporate America and they've been suppressed because they're in this male dominated industry, and they feel like they've been suppressed like their whole time, and they've been working in office buildings their whole life, and they just want to break out. They've got something so much bigger and they want to have creativity because that's been suppressed. Now, all of a sudden, if I niche down hard, and we could niche down into insurance companies, women, that, right? So when you do that and you niche down, it's almost counterintuitive, because people are like, oh, Lee, there's not enough women that are. If you know, what I believe what happens is people are asking the wrong question. They're going, instead of going, of thinking, oh, there's not enough people there to find that. It's like, how can I find those women that are in the insurance companies that have been in corporate America and that male dominated, that are aged between 45 and 35, right? So when you come down and you target just those people in that group, and you know that they're in this group, and all of a sudden you can start really getting very specific and getting into groups and to places. And not only that, which platform are they on? Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on YouTube? Are they on LinkedIn? So
Yep.
when you personally get to know who your ideal customer is, and you know where they're hanging out, and then we go even deeper into what are their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So what's the relationship that that woman has with her spouse, because she's in this male dominated, thing. She's working the 9 to 5. She's bored out of her brain. She's taken it out on her kids because, she's not happy in herself, and she's been suppressing her own creativity, and she's firing off at the kids for the last 5 years because she's angry at herself, essentially. And if you can talk into those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and you know where those women are hanging out, and you can start hitting the mark, all of a sudden you're stopping the scroll, man.
Yeah.
You're stopping the scroll.
Speaking directly to them.
And I believe that that's the key to really marketing effectively in today's online space, and any space. Any advertising company will tell you that.
Yeah. So what's coming up for me as you're saying this, I really believe that our ideal client is most often someone just like us,
Boom.
which means like, where were we, before we figured some things out, right? And, today most of us have, been on some sort of journey, and we've learned some things along the way, some skills and things that now we can turn around and teach. That's one of the things that I really believe. It's like we all have amazing, unique gifts to be able to share. And the truth is they're very unique. So like use everything, right? Use your experiences and your skill sets you've developed and all the education, as random as it might seem. Like you learn something from every aspect, and then who you are as a person, all that comes together to make up, you and your unique self. And so if you can utilize that and then take everything that you learned on your journey and think of how you can take that and be able to help others, then you can stand out in a crowded market because you are unique, right? But then you can personally relate to your ideal audience because you've been there, so you can go back to where you were, in the pain point or the struggle and the challenge, and speak to that, right? And that, I think, is a beautiful way to kind of connect your gifts to your ideal audience and be able to resonate with them. So we can't speak the language that we're speaking now, right? Because they're not going to get it. They're not going to resonate with it because we're here on the other side of the challenge and struggle. So you got to kind of go back. Like, where was I when I was in the trenches and the pits and the struggle and challenge, and like speak to that, right?
The reason I'm smiling so much, Megan, because you've basically just reverse engineered my whole course. So many people are out there. Okay, let's go back to your ladies in this group, right? They want to do something. They want to impact people. They want to earn income, influence, and impact, generally speaking, right? If they're in this business women's group that you've created. So what I find is that what I found, what I was doing, I was a leader in network marketing companies and affiliate marketing companies for a while and built some big teams. But what I found was I was chasing the money. I had this platform, and I was given this platform that was by someone else had given me this platform, and I could jump in. And don't get me wrong, network marketing and affiliate marketing are incredible ways for personal development and to learn so much more about yourself and to connect with people who want more, do more, be more. But one thing that I found, and I went to a mastermind in Bali, and I was part of an affiliate marketing company, and I just paid $17,000 on this mastermind and with these incredible people. And while I was there was a guy there that was showing people how to define their vision. And sorry, I won't use that word because that's what I've got. But he
Right.
was showing people how to talk about how to find their vision. And as he sat there and he spoke, Megan, dominoes just started falling in my head because I could see what he was talking about. And to tune into what you just said there, each topic that he was talking about, the $100,000 plus of personal development that I've invested in myself prior to that, the network marketing, what do you call it, events, massive multi-million-dollar events that I'd been to, personal development events,
Yep.
And everything that I'd invested in myself. As he was going through each step, I literally clicked over in my brain. I'm like, what he just talked about, I can go into insane depth about that, and that. And what he just said there, I can go into incredible. And I could take people through that process that I learned 3 years ago through that. And I went back to my hotel room in Bali that night, and I literally sat down, and there's a live that I made at when that guy spoke. And I actually got up and interrupted a speaker. I had this energy over me that I realized I just saw what I was supposed to do. And I went back to, and I made a live. I gotta look that live up. But I went back to my hotel room that night, and I drew a big flow diagram, and that's where Define Your Vision was born. And literally, what we do, and coming back to what you were just talking about there, is instead of what I realized in that moment was I was chasing the money and I was chasing this platform that I was trying to create something from outside of me.
Yep.
And what I realized is I have all these incredible talents and strengths and abilities that why don't I create my own instead of creating it from the outside in? Why don't I create my vision from the inside out? And so as I sat down and designed the Define Your Vision process, and which has now evolved, which it does as you just start the journey and it evolves.
Yeah.
What I realized is that, to a brief breakdown of our process is that we come back and we help people to stop telling the lies that they're telling themselves.
Yep.
We help them find their core values, which is not easy. You can't just sit there and go, yeah, my core values are family and travel and this. Like it's a process, and
Sure.
we go deep. We go deep. We get to know you. We get to go deep into your, and then what we end up doing is we go down and to talk into your point, we actually take people through their difficult and tragic events that they've had in their life and get them to journal that out within a safe space as much as they can, as much as the work that they've done to, and go as deep as they can. We're very careful about how deep we do go with that. Some people have done a lot of work and they can go there. So once we do that, we work out what were your negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions for each one of those difficult or tragic events that you went through. And we get them to list that out. Then we get them to go through and we get them to go, what characteristics, traits, and behaviors, who did you have to become to overcome each one of those adversities, and to list that out. Then we actually go through and we get them to list out the cycles and to pick up on the cycles. Everything in life is cyclic, and we go right into neurology, biology, psychology, neuroplasticity, and how we form our personal reality, which is another word for our personality. So we go right deep into all that stuff. And once we've helped people to work out what their values are, what their sabotaging patterns are, what their core strengths are, what their innate strengths, what they love to do. You know, the biggest thing, Megan, people will tell us all day long about all their struggles and all the bad things and all that. They'll just, no problem, blah, 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 blah. They'll let that out. And it's amazing how many people we ask, what would you love to do if you didn't have any, if you had $4 million right now and you had 10 years to spend it? What would you love to do? What would you do? What would make your heart sing? How could you create a vision around that? And you know what, Megan? Most people can't answer that question.
Mm.
And they can't because they're so damn programmed from the education, from the media, from our parents, and from the programming that we have, that they find it hard to talk about the strengths and the things that they would love to do. They find that more difficult than they'll regurgitate all the crap, no problems.
Sure.
And it's almost the way that we're programmed. So what we do is we bring that to people's awareness, and we get them talking about what they love to do. What would make your heart sing? If you could pick a dream, let's go and do that. Let's go and do that. And you see them like, okay, you can see me lighting up now, right? I'm lit up. It's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm loving this. And that's when you know that you're on your path. I can see it. As soon as I see someone dropping into one of their values, as soon as I see someone that's talking about their passions, I see them light up.
Yep.
They tweet faster, they talk louder, they're excited, they're smiling, and that's when we know we're on our path. That's what we should.
So, I mean, you said so much, but like when you were explaining like how it, like the moment that it kind of clicked for you in terms of like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. To me, it's all about like you became in alignment.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, all the money that you invested in personal development, that was just part of the process, but you gathered information along the way. So you can gather information from conferences or trainings or even life experiences, everything, all the parts of our journey are just, we're gathering information. But then, we could fall into traps of like doing what other people are doing or following a certain model and like, ooh, this is how I'm going to be successful, right? And then we're kind of putting all of our gifts along the wayside, or like just kind of holding on to them and like, kind of reinventing ourselves to be this other person that's not really in alignment with who we are. And you can reach certain levels of success, but it doesn't feel right. You have to force and push, and it's not natural. And so I think when you can like step back, like you said, and do this work to really get clear on what you want and what do you bring to the table, like you are able to take everything that and you have a lens that you're kind of putting it all through. And now you can take all the information, which is not brand new information, but it's different and unique to you by the way you're able to present it through everything that you've learned and experienced. So this is a perfect example how you can take your expertise that you've learned along the way and come up with your own signature process, that's like my sweet spot. I love helping my clients kind of take like everything and how can you take that and put it into an amazing high-end offer and start earning your worth, right? And so you went through that whole thing, right? And it's like now you have this amazing program that nobody else has because nobody else has been on your journey and has had your experiences and has learned what you've learned. So I love it. It's amazing.
Megan, I'd just love to commend you for even having me on here, because that shows that you have an abundance mentality. Even though you and I are doing similar things, it's people, when we start hanging around high vibrational people and the circles that understand that when we're just adding value to our people and adding value, there is no competition anymore. We're all, for me, and now I'm going to go from the micro to the macro, because I know that you speak the same language, and I love this when I can not know someone at all. I can look at their Facebook feed a little bit if I'm about to have a conversation with them, and I know that they know that we're both adding to the collective consciousness of humanity and the planet. And when we drop into that abundance mentality and we're here to help raise the vibrational frequency of humanity and Mother Earth. And that's now, it almost goes from a tipping point from the beginning stages of trying to work out what your vision is and everything that you just said. And it's amazing. I had a defining kind of moment, day or two myself, after I had defined my vision and started doing this. And then I just sat back and I went, I have just brought all of my travel experience, my super yacht experience, where we used to deal with 7-star customers. It was all about the customer. My network marketing, I'm an expert at edifying people and having a conversation and setting up 3-way chats and introducing and networking people through my network marketing. I ran a landscaping business that I brought those skills to, about just what I did. And I looked back and I went, wow, everything, all these little tiny bits.
Isn't that cool?
And they didn't make sense in the start. They didn't make sense. It's like, oh man, I spent $100,000 on personal development. Where's the damn money? Like, what's going on here? You know, did I waste that? But then all of a sudden, when it kicks in, it makes sense. And you pull all this and you're like, oh my God, thank God I spent $20,000 over there doing that, or $2,000, you know, so that, whatever that is. It all comes together when you find your vision and you pull it all together. It does make sense. And I really implore the people watching this, please don't stop until you find
it's so important to invest in yourself, right? Because that's
100%.
part of the process. So we're running out of time here, unfortunately, but I know that challenges have been a great marketing strategy for you to kind of grow your business. Can you speak to that for a couple minutes on why challenges are such a powerful way to market your business?
Megan, like I said, I've been in network marketing. I've been online. I wanted to do more online, and I was just trying to reach basically, I was chasing anyone that could fog up a mirror. If you put a mirror under their nose and that fogged up, they were my people, right?
Right.
And then, so I had created this course in Bali. I told you, and I was just trying to do it one-on-one. And in my mind, I'm like, I can only do this. This is so personal. It can only be one-on-one with people. I got introduced to the challenge model and I saw it instantly, because challenges are, I believe, hands down, the most powerful marketing platform on the planet right now. And there's
And are we
several.
talking like a Facebook challenge, like something you could do in a Facebook group, right? Okay.
100%. You can do it, run a challenge, no money down. You can do organic marketing. You can open up a pop-up, what we call a pop-up Facebook group, and create a challenge in there. And I'll just give you a couple of core reasons why I believe this, Megan.
Sure.
Because the hardest thing for an entrepreneur to do is to start their business and build momentum. Okay. So what a challenge does, it's very, very intentional. It's very psychologically, it's very strategic. And what we do is we know who our ideal customer is. We know where they currently are. We know where they want to be. And what we're able to do is to start to give them intentionally, through the homework and through certain ways, we can give them micro wins so they can start to create momentum. When they start to create, now not only are they creating momentum, but there's also very specific ways that we can create insane family connection, where they're starting to trust and have trust and rapport with each other. And also with the facilitator, whoever's running the challenge, everything's about, people will only buy from you. It's cliche, but it's true. People have to know, like, and trust you. And what I love about challenges, you can run a free challenge. Let's say I run a challenge for 5 days. It's up to me as the facilitator to pour my heart and pour value into the people, so that they can get to know, then they get the choice, do I want to work with Lee, and do I not? Or do I not? And so now the onus, instead of paying $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to go in and get into a course and go, you know what, I actually don't even like this guy much. What am I doing here? Yep. Now all of a sudden, so it's shifted from the onus being on the customer to the facilitator to perform and add value. And so when you do that, you build this insane trust and rapport with people, and it's almost becomes too easy, Megan, to take people once they're in your challenge, and you're loving on your people, you're giving them value, you know what they want, and you're helping them solve problems. That's what it's about.
Yep.
then all of a sudden they've built this momentum and they get so excited that then you can offer your course that you have on the back end. And it's just ridiculous. I made $11,500 off my first challenge alone. And I just followed a simple format, but I didn't just make $11,500. I created a family and started a movement. And those people are still with me today in my groups, because there was so much trust and rapport there. So I think they're the main things. Is it's helping walk people through the process of solving problems for people, and that's where we find fulfillment, right? And just one thing, like what I love this point: wherever there is adversity and problems, there is opportunity to help people, to create solutions for them, and empower yourself in terms of satisfaction, financially, and whatever. So whenever you find problems, there's always opportunity to help people and to empower yourself there. And I think that's a really cool way to look at the world. Instead of going, oh my God, there's a problem, it's like, no, there's an opportunity.
Be part of the solution, right?
Be part of the solution, man.
Yeah, I love it. And so I've run a handful of challenges myself, and I love it. It's super fun. But yeah, so you're giving somebody like a small win, showing what's possible, and then, then they can very well be, if it's a good fit, your program's a good fit for them to kind of move into kind of, really tackling a bigger problem that they might be experiencing. So yeah, I believe challenges are a great model for those of you who are wanting to build that rapport with your potential clients and really provide that value. Set yourself up as an expert, and so people can start to know, like, and trust you, like you said. So yeah, love it. So Lee, unfortunately, we're out of time, and I know that you have a Facebook group that you wanted to introduce to everybody. Can you tell us a little bit about this Facebook group and what they could look to learn when they're part of the group?
Yeah, sure, Megan. So at the moment, we're taking some of our people. We actually help people to find their who and to design their challenge. So we literally help people now to design and build and run their challenge. So we're pretty deep in with our people there and helping some people design their challenge right now. So we'll be running a challenge in about another month or two. So if anyone that's watching this would like to jump into our Facebook group called Define Your Vision, and just hang out in there for a little while. We're always adding value into that group, as you are here too, Megan. And it's just a space where you can hang out with the family of people just like us. And yeah, basically that's it. It's become a family. And I love that. I love the fact that I'm smiling with that, because we really have family.
What's cool, Lee, is we get to create the environment in which we can flourish. We get to create our environment with like-minded, awesome people. And, creating your own Facebook group is a great way to be able to do that. So those of you who don't have one, you may want to consider some sort of platform where you can gather all of your peeps, the ones that have a similar mindset. And, at the end of the day, everyone's sharing and supporting each other and loving on each other. But then it's also a great place for you to market your services. So if, there's always the people that want more help and more support. And so, make sure that you are getting out there and making offers for that next step for your ideal client to take within your group, because there's always a percentage of them that want that high level support. So yeah, love it. So go to facebook.com/groups/define your vision to participate and become a member of Lee's Facebook group. Yeah, Lee, thank you so much for joining us today. You had so many great insights. And I mean, I just love your story and your journey, just really always answering the calling that you are having, and not let anybody, dissuade you from just going after it. and look where it's led you. Now you get to live an extraordinary life with no limits, and you get to travel the world, and you get to, well, you're in your RV just going to all different kinds of beaches and hanging out, right?
100%. 100%.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I just,
Any final thoughts? Any
yeah,
final
I was just thinking that, Megan. I think just coming back to the core message that we talked about early, just for it, uh, it's all about awareness. Just keep educating yourself. Just know that every single person has I don't care who it is or what they done or what they haven't done. They have incredible talents that they can use and harness, and just know that when you do that, there are people out there looking for you. They need you.
Yeah.
And when you can package that and put that, if that's something that you want to do, then you can create real change in the world. You can create real change in other people's lives. And that is the most fulfilling thing that, for me personally, anyway, that we can do. It's one of the it's our human nature to want to help other people, for many of us. And so I just really want to encourage people to keep investing in yourself, keep educating yourself. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. And just really look around. I guess just take a little snapshot of your life right now and just ask yourself. The quality of the questions we ask determines the quality of the life that we live. So start asking yourself some good quality questions. How am I feeling? Where do I feel I need to put up some boundaries? What would I love to do? Who can I surround myself with? What direction does my heart want to go? What do I need to when things aren't adding up? Start subtracting. What do I need to subtract out of my life? Start asking these type of questions. Just become really aware of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and just follow your heart, not this thing up here, because this thing likes to too much. Megan,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me on. I really love speaking to you, and I love thank you for having me in this group too. And I really wish your people to go out there and to be part of the collective consciousness to raise the vibrational frequency of humanity. So thank you for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure, Lee. Thank you for taking the time to share your gifts and be of service to the group. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. We'd love to hear any takeaways or ahas that you had while listening to this training today. Please reach out to Lee and be part of his group and stay connected with him. And until next time, be courageous, take inspired action, and go out there and share your gifts with the world. Everyone.
Thank you, Megan.